You're good.
Okay, ordinance committee meeting, Monday, June 16th at 6:30 p.m. First, I'm going to amend the agenda. Number 7, I would like to add for comments. I guess I probably need a motion to add to the agenda. Can someone make a motion to add comments?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Riley, and thank you, Mr. Most. So we'll have comments at 7. Number 1 now is going to be petitions by citizens on non-agenda items. All right, number 2. The review of 25-1-1 chickens, fowl, and city limits. Everyone should have 25-1-1 in front of them. It is Q on the back side, animals prohibited. To own or possess any swine, goats, horses, or fowl, or cattle in the city limit unless permitted in zoned agricultural districts. We've talked about this quite a few times in the past, 8 years that I've been here. Open it up to discussion. I think Mr. Hopkins has comments.
I do. Thank you, Chairman. I really believe that the ordinance has served us well. And I think that those running or add to it should seek possibly an agricultural setting, as our ordinance is directing. I think they will be more to their liking in that zoning as far as, I think we're talking directly about chicken here.
Yes, sir.
And I think they could find a better setting with a better zoning. And with that, I would like to make a motion to keep this ordinance intact as it is.
I think you have to have discussion first.
Okay, does anybody else have any discussion before there's a motion?
No, I'll make a motion.
You don't want to discuss it.
Well, I mean,
I don't see a ton of people here to argue the point, so I mean.
yeah. I mean, nobody has anything to say.
And I do believe, as far as Robert, you have discussion after the motion.
I go downstairs with you. We make a motion that we discuss.
Yeah, you make a motion.
Mr. Hopkins made a motion to leave the ordinance as written. Do we have a second?
I'll second
I feel very strongly.
Gary or Mr. Trantham, or Mr. Motion, Mr. Trantham, whichever way. You want to put it
Thank you,
in the minutes, Michelle? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Leave the ordinance, and like I said, we talk about this once a year, so it'll come back. Number 3, review 3-2-5, fees. And forgive me, I didn't print this one out.
I could not find an ordinance in any of our surrounding communities that allowed aviaries. I couldn't find one.
Well, I didn't, when I was saying mayors, I didn't print the 3-2-5, what we currently have in the most for that. But I think it's pretty simple.
I mean, there were, for chickens, it was easy to find because there's lots of municipalities that allow them. I could not find one for these. It was probably answering your question.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. I mean,
I can remember 2 over the years. One was on Waterloo Drive, and the other one was really down behind the old SOS building.
We have to have something on it.
No, it's not that we don't have anything on it. He was looking for other municipalities. Yeah, no, we have it on there. I just didn't.
It's prohibited.
It's prohibited right now. This one I feel like I can find a motion pretty good.
I'll make a motion to keep it as is.
Mr. Riley makes a motion to leave ordinance 3-2-5 as written.
Second.
Mr. Trantham, sorry. Jim Trantham, seconds, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Number 4, review city's position on gaming licenses.
So I put this on here for a couple of reasons. The first thing I'd like I would like some discussion or to see how you feel. Have we reached a saturation point, with gaming in Waterloo? When you come to Waterloo, is that what you see, gaming, signs and neons and establishments? Is that what we want? Is that what we don't want? Is it too much already? And you probably should answer that question first, before we even look at our gaming licenses.
I mean, I would say that we have enough, I feel, so we have enough.
I agree. We have enough.
There's certainly a number of places for people to go, gaming is what they're into, and I don't think we want people to drive into town and see those neon signs. I think we want them to come here, just come to our town square, visit our businesses, visit our festivals, our events that we have going on, visit the restaurants, the other establishments.
I concur. My thought is similar in our discussions about the painting of the billboards on the buildings. You know, how many more are we going to have? You know, we get people saying enough is enough. We had a good thing with the drawing and the paintings on several of the places in town, but now we're saying that's enough. And I feel very similar with that with the gaming license.
I'm not on this committee, but when's the last time somebody had a game license and they went out of business or gave it back? It clearly makes money. So by capping it here, we're kind of picking winners and losers.
Businesses get sold, but they're not transferable. So if you sell your business, you give your gaming license up.
Right, so if you have them now, that makes you're picking a winner because that's associated with your business now.
Well, I don't think that would, if you're
It would stay with it.
if you're ready to retire and sell your business, would that, having the gaming license make it more valuable or keep you there?
Absolutely. It makes money. Look at that.
We'll get $25,000 a month from it.
But we get, I'm talking the individual.
And then you can.
Oh, yeah, I understand why businesses have it. You know, I definitely understand it because it's, I mean, we got 3 parties here, all they do is gaming and that carries them just for that. So, I don't know, I'm not a gamer, I guess.
I'm
So,
not either.
Yeah, but
I think
have we ever given a license back? Has anybody closed once they've had a license?
When you close, you have to give it back.
I understand that.
I-
What happens then? We cap it at 18, we have 18 to repeat. We're gonna cap it at 21, I guess. There's 18 current and
Well,
3.
there's several different things. So you have 6 convenience stores and 5 of them were taken. Casey's has asked for the last.
Okay.
So you have a different license for truck stop and motor mart than that. We have 3 gaming licenses for a gaming parlor and that's all there is. And everything else basically is for a bar or restaurant. And there's no limit on those.
I understand how that all works. It's just, so we would not put a limit on bar restaurants because there isn't a limit now. Or would we? It sounds like we are putting a limit on it. We're capping it.
So basically,
That is not my choice, that's your guys' choice.
so basically, if like Kyle and Matt's business sold, and they had to give their license back, then we would have that license.
Well, actually, Jeff had to give the license. Jeff had to give the license up.
But there wasn't any
And then-
cap, so it didn't matter.
Correct.
Right, and if yours is still up for grabs, then we we're at our.
They bring in whoever's gonna buy the
Yeah,
place.
oh, okay.
And phase them out so it would stay with business.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're basically attaching them to the profits is what we're doing by capping it. That's how it would work, because
I see where
happy
you're
hour is
going.
worth more because it has that liquor or that gaming license now, if we cap it.
I see what you're saying, because it's,
But if you sell it, you no longer have it.
no, but I mean,
You would work it to where it would stay.
So,
if we can.
a better example would be if, say we're capping it no more, for bar and restaurants, any restaurant owns says, well, they sorry, you can't, well, we just ask part of the revenue stream. That's what you're doing.
Or 50 winners.
Are you saying that we change some of the wording in the ordinance?
You would actually have to change, you would have to change,
Unlimited.
you most certainly would. You would actually have to put, just like there is a limit on gaming parlors, you would put a limit on everything else.
I mean, and then, I'm telling you, it probably wouldn't ever become available once we cap it. But would there be a waiting list for one that wouldn't come available if you capped it?
The issue is that you can't, it could not become a commodity. So you would not be able to sell, say, when your dad went out of business, or when he sold his business, you would not have been able to sell that license to someone else.
I agree, but it would just, the sale would have been different had it been capped.
It could very well be.
It would have.
But when you enter this, make sure you understand that you are changing the ordinance, and you are going to have to put some type of limitation or a waiting list, and you're probably, that would actually have to go through our attorneys in order to get that problem.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
We would have to go through our attorneys in order to get that problem.
Yes.
Because the license itself could not become a commodity. It could if that's what you want. I don't think that's what we want.
And
There's two parts to the conversation, and they're separate, but they're tied in the fact that we don't want, the analogy I used earlier with someone is, we want one to stay more like Bedford Falls and Pottersville from His Wonderful Life. And if capping it does that, then maybe that's what we need, because there are businesses we have not let into our communities. This one is here. This
We already allow
So it's here, but at the same point in time, to what extent do we want that to just be allowed to run free? And I'm all free market, but at the same point in time,
I'm not advocating for more alternative us to do the big strip by any means.
Right. But that could potentially be with an uncapped limit. Yeah, it could. It's not, because
Eventually
you're not picking winners and losers there, you're letting the market decide.
Exactly.
But what happens, you get bigger and better gaming parlors, or bigger and more machines, or more of those things.
Then some of the other ones fail, and that's how the market works.
That is how the market works, but I don't think that's what the citizens of Waterloo want to happen.
So now we have the new car wash actually wanted them, and they could not work that out because they the room that they had would only support 2 machines.
Yeah.
But so there are other people out there who actually probably like them, and probably in establishments that you wouldn't think, I would have never thought a drive-through car wash would want that. But it was out there because they were looking to cover their overhead in a business that was probably marginal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we solve this evening. But
I'd like to see some language about the unlimited and.
I think you would probably have.
There are places who do that. There are municipalities who have capped and limited things. I'm sure that I know if you pull that.
Right. And again, you're probably analogy between Bedford Falls and Pottersville is actually because we bill ourselves as Pottersville. That's what we do.
Oh,
Because we are an old community.
no, but
I'm sorry, Bedford Falls.
I was gonna say.
But that's what Pottersville.
That goes to the family-friendly events that we have, the draw that we have.
Right.
And I think there's a value to that, which I think is why some of the draws that we have are so large, because our community is like that.
But so that's a good point though. He does make, that's a hard, I didn't think of it that way, but I do see where you're at on it.
because you're right, I mean, you know, businesses can run, their whole thing can be covered by their gambling, and the food and drink is their pure profit portion right there.
But you are also, you're going to invite a business to come to Waterloo, and the only way they can make it is with gambling. Is
Right.
That's the
That's
business
the other
they want to
side.
attract.
And that's what we're
So we
saying.
don't want that.
So, I'm
I'm not saying we do, we don't. I'm
right,
saying.
I'm not on this committee. But I don't feel like I feel like when you drive to Waterloo, it's not flashy and like out there for people to gamble. So I feel like it's under control right now. I would hate to see it get like,
Exploded.
I feel like right now we got control on it.
And do you want to explore it to see what it would look like if in fact we limited it to gaming licenses? Is that what you would like?
I
Or
think
do
we
you want to
should.
let it go?
I mean, you know, I'm on the curve limited it, but we need to make sure, like, that we're not inversely affecting the business of Waterloo or the future business of Waterloo. We need to look it off to make this change and go back and decide 10 years later, all we gonna do is really, you know, it was a terrible, it was a mistake again.
But 10 years from now, our city limits are gonna be far exceeding where they are right now.
They are.
This market will have grown, the population will have grown, and if that's the case, then if the population has grown by 50% or 100%, probably more than likely, then you can take a look at a modification to that based on the number of businesses required to support that infrastructure viewpoint. So I don't know if personally, I wouldn't use the word mistake looking backwards. You think it needs to be managed for growth.
Sure.
We're gonna tap liquor licenses too. I mean, the more neon associated with liquor licenses.
You do know this is Monroe County, right?
I understand.
No, but you
You're
can
trying to
say,
get the public on my side here, so. Joking, clearly, but.
Well, I have had people tell me that because of the size of your city, roughly 11,000, you have an extremely large amount of taverns in your city. And my response is it's a German community.
Yeah.
You can look at that too. I mean, it's.
Well, that's, again, looking at it on a per capita basis, Monroe County's #2 in the state for consumption.
That's a
So,
lot to do with fair too.
a lot of it.
We did a study when I was at Hospitality Service, and Monroe County was more expensive for everything else, beer was the cheapest. That was, I don't know, about the equipment, all that.
And we also, I mean, we make a great deal more money in gaming than does Columbia or anyone else around us. Columbia did 200 and I think they were 250, where we're making $25,000 a month, 300. I don't believe they have the same amount of gaming income.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, you start, your initial question was, do you feel, and it's something for us to think about, do you think we're set to the point of saturation?
And we most certainly can just move this to a meeting a month from now and have everyone kind of feel it out and see what you think about it after having a time to think about it, changing the ordinance, picking winners, picking losers. Do we make the actual licenses a commodity? Do we control that and keep it the same price, or do we control it by raising the price of those licenses?
So to the winners and losers comment, so playing this out or saying this through, everybody help me on this one. If now a business with a gaming license is sold, the gaming license goes back to the city, correct?
Gaming license basically is void at that point.
Is void, so that license could be available.
You start that process at the state. Now,
But it's not going with a business.
Because there is no cap now.
right.
If you were selling your business, you would make it so that license would go along.
But could you?
Yes,
You can.
yes.
I didn't want to speak up, but yes, they would.
Yes.
So the LLC is attached to it, they pass end results.
So you would actually.
So it is attached to the.
It just seems, you have to transfer the LLC, it's attached to the state license, and then that state.
So you're transferring it as opposed to selling it. That's
You're
all.
adding an extra step in somebody selling your.
But they've got a commodity right there. That's what it will be.
So
It
Gary,
would be a commodity to whoever owns the business, not the city of Waterloo.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's actually not the business we want to be in.
Correct.
I agree with that too.
We don't want to do that.
so you have
If you get
six,
larger cities and those gaming licenses are actually sold.
Right, and I don't think that's.
Right.
No,
No,
that's
not
not-
you have 6 months from the time that you decide you sell your business to successfully get it transferred before it goes void. That's what the state offers, a 6-month period.
Yeah, I'm not certain the
I
time
don't
frame
think
there,
I don't think I would agree with you.
but you.
That's what we were
You can't
told.
just transfer the LLC with a gaming license to anybody, you have, the person who has to qualify for a game.
That's why I said you get a 6-month period to qualify with the state before it's transferred.
Does everyone have enough to move on and have another meeting at some point?
Nothing more about it, yeah.
I actually want to start the process.
Okay.
Cool.
Good conversation. Good. And again, thanks to the board, but there's more comments somewhere.
Okay, number 5. Explore creating a property committee for the city, and I mean, Mayor, you brought this up all the time. The city owns a number of properties. Some are actually single-family residents. Now we've got green space down here. We've got some property by a sewer plant. Obviously, the city owns property, and currently we have committees for many different things. There's a list of them on the website.
Right.
We're in one of them right now, but we don't have one that is specific to the management of the properties we own. And we were talking about that. Is that correct?
So I think we own a lot of properties. Some of them are designated as the lift station properties, the lagoon property in Liddell, the old firehouse, the lot behind it has the old holding tank on it, the million-gallon tank, the property beside it, the Lehman Street properties, then and of course now the trailer park. I think probably creating a property committee, not just property, we should actually be looking at what public works is going to look like in the future. So right now we have a lot of buildings in public works. We have some that are new, some that are at the end of their life, and we have pieces and storage here and everything and everywhere. And I think we actually need to look at the property that we have and make some long-term decisions about public works on what the face of public works should look like down there in order to be able to transfer a portion of what comes into our business office every day that would actually go to public works where it actually belongs. Some of it would stay here, but the vast majority of the things that come in should actually go somewhere else in public works. And the public works would be actually the exchange point as to where those calls go and who gets called. And we don't have that. We don't have that now. I would like to see a new building on Ward Street in order to house that and to house our street department, which is in a building that has reached the end of its life. We continue to spend money on it, but we probably should be doing something different. And in doing that, we probably should have the face of public works on Ward Street. We should also probably look at buying one piece of property. Well, I think across the Ward Street Park, but a property committee should actually look at the entire process.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Mayor. I don't want to interrupt too much, but the first step is creating the property committee meeting. I think there's compelling evidence that we need it. I don't think we've got I counted 11 other committees that all do specific things. I don't know why we can't do this, and the first step would be creating it. And then once we create it, you can fill it with people, 5 people typically for a committee, and then we can talk about the properties we want to buy and the buildings on Moore Street. But the first step here, we just did a motion.
We did.
15 currently. I just looked through them and I tried to figure out which
I'll
one
go
we
with
got.
13.
I was looking at it too.
But I didn't really see any on there that were, they're all, some of them sit for 18 months without a meeting, but when you need the meeting, you gotta have a meeting. So,
Count 13.
There's 13,
Special committee.
13 line down.
15.
there's been a motion to add a property committee for the city of Waterloo.
I will leave that.
Jordan Riley makes the motion.
Second.
Mr. Jim Hopkins with the second. All in favor? Aye.
I was just gonna ask you, so is that an ordinance change to create?
Excuse me?
Is that an ordinance? Do we have to create a private ordinance?
Yeah, a new ordinance would have to be actually created and a rule as to what that committee does.
So then we have to bring it back here and we have to vote on it.
Presumably, maybe that committee, I don't know if they can do that themselves, the ordinance has to do it, but we allocate a budget line item, or we need acquiring properties, making
For sure.
sales, incurring expenses for maintenance, or improvement.
Which probably would be an annual thing. Well, the maintenance would be, but the buying, what I was saying, you write it in there that you're allowed to have a budget item, and then in year 2027, if you need it, you do it, but in year 2028, you not always have to appropriate money to it, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess we have properties that we're earning rent on, it goes to.
So we have the 57 acres out there, we have 124 acres, it's a bigger farm, we have all of that income. Does that income go toward properties? Or does that income go to your fund? There's a lot of questions to be answered. So it'd be a process, and I would have to get with our attorneys and figure out how we want to start the process for ordinance and what the rules would be.
All right, anything else on number 5?
I'm sure there's somebody else that has one that we can
Yeah.
borrow from.
Number 6, review 14-1-2 and 14-1-3, read FEMA's flood insurance rate map. Mr. Landeck.
All right, so it will be reviewing chapter 14, our floodplain code. I received from FEMA, the National Flood Insurance Program map, the latest. It will be, the mapping and the study will be effective August 19th of 2025. With that being said, we have 4 maps that our city boundaries fall within or just outside the city limits. I have them here. They're also, I believe, preliminarily available on FEMA's website to look at. Look at them in my office as well. But to make this quick, if you take, I handed out 2 stapled pieces of paper together. If you take the one that says ordinance number blank and put it on your right side there so we can just kind of look at it together. First, I thought it was changing the effective date of our current ordinance. However, talking to FEMA, we need to basically review and update with the state language. It is out of date. I believe this should have been done, from what I understand, a couple years ago, but we'll get it all right now. So if you just take an example of section 1 in your right for purpose, and if you look at purpose on the left-hand side there, they've added some articles. You'll see Article A has been added, for example. Article D has been added. For example, Article H, and what I'm referencing, I'm saying on the right side and the left side, those will have to be inserted. Those are just a couple examples to get into the definitions. On the ordinance number blank, you'll see accessory building, accessory structures there first. They've added some stuff and removed, long story short, they've added some stuff and removed this. So what I'd like to do is amend our current ordinance with the latest language. I'll be working with Tammy because this is the state's template. What you have on your right-hand side is the state's template. And just basically replace what we currently have to get it up to date. So I'll work with Tammy and then we'll have the city attorney review it. And then like to bring it to city council August 18th because it has to be in effect by the 19th.
Do we need to come back here first?
I don't believe so. If everybody just if you want to review what I gave you, it's on your right-hand side here. I know there's some highlights, it's kind of an insert village name, that type of stuff. Again, it's similar to what we had before. They just added and removed, some of the stuff is verbatim. If you think we need to come back here first before that, or if I just email.
I personally don't think we need to come back here first. As long as somebody is looking at it, to make sure we don't have errors.
Well, I hope people, the committee members can look at both of these things, and if something would come up, they think we have, well, we can't, but at this time, we can leave it at, let's put it on the council agenda whenever it's ready.
Sounds good.
But like I said, we can always come back and
Yeah.
have another meeting if something pops up that we need. Is that okay with all the committee members?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Number 7, comments.
Saw this number times before, I think all the grandchildren have done this before. I appreciate these committees because I might not change my thinking on some of these things, but the conversation is expansive. And so, especially as it relates to Danny, I'll have to change my viewpoint or talk to people, talk to more people and explore some of this, but expanding the thinking on is very interesting, so that's all.
Mr. Mayor?
So on August 28th, we will be hosting the city of Waterloo. We'll be hosting the Southwestern Illinois Mayor's Conference meeting. It will be at the Wine Bar. Anyone that can attend, I would appreciate that. I believe this is the first time the city of Waterloo is actually hosting.
What date did you say?
Well, the city water is hosted, but not, we had one in Andryer,
How long ago?
7 years.
What did you say?
August 28th, the Thursday.
Yes, it is.
And then I guess I'm just gonna say something too, being the new guy here, these meetings, especially the conferences are awesome because I have a very novice point of view on things right now. Where I see something like I didn't take the idea of it picking winner lose essentially on the gaming licenses. And so like that is I am pro limiting it, but also I don't want to limit our businesses and step into something that we don't need to be involved with either. So it's more so that, okay, I don't understand that, I need to know that more, so I appreciate when it comes back and forth. And more better for me, so, thanks guys.
That's it.
Mayor, what time is that on the 28th of August?
I believe it's 7 o'clock. I don't know enough of those meetings. You want to go to London hours, this month,
We'll see.
hour, 15.
No, I was gonna say, to the mayor's point, I went to a couple in the last 6 months, but I thought maybe 6:30, but it's good information, you can meet people from neighboring communities, I think it's a good thing to do.
The one at St. Jacob a few years ago, that was good. They had good fish. I remember that.
All right, is there anything else in the comments? All right, can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Second? Mr. Hopkins had his hand up first. All in favor?
Aye.
We're out at 7:03.